The Division 2 story is at an interesting crossroads at this current moment, and the story could branch off in many different directions, and Massive has the opportunity to explore many different narrative possibilities within the next few seasons. With the Division 2 receiving support for the next coming year, I'm very interested to see where they're going to take the narrative within the new seasonal content. While it remains to be seen whether or not we're going to get an actual narrative story-driven campaign such as Warlords, it is confirmed that we will be getting an entire year's worth of story-driven narrative seasonal content. So the purpose of this video is to talk about where the story could go within the next coming year. So most of the speculation that regards the Division 2 story generally agrees that the next story DLC or update will focus on the Black Tusk founder, Natalya Sokolov. Narratively, this makes sense because way back in Season 3, when the Division captured Bardon Schaefer, the leader of the BTSU, they did so with the intention of questioning him about the location and whereabouts of Natalya Sokolov. So basically what I'm saying is the game has made it clear that Natalya is quote-unquote the final boss per se, or just the next boss of the Division 2 story. And now with the Black Tusk as the main antagonist faction of the Division 2, logic follows that we would continue our quest to take down the Black Tusk and stop their operations in DC. And with the release of the PTS, we get some insight as to what factions are working together in the new update. In the new countdown mode, the Division agents go up against at least 3 enemy factions during the fight to secure the Penco power plant. Narratively, it brings up a pretty interesting question as to why these factions are working together. What motivations do they have for doing so? When I first played the PTS, I compared it to the resistance mode, in the sense that all of the factions are banding together to try and stop the Division from completing a certain objective. During the events of the Division 1, the Division was described as threatening the survivability of the factions in Manhattan, and the different factions banded together in the West Side Pier area of the city to try and eliminate the Division under the mentality of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And obviously now a similar occurrence can be seen in the Division 2's new countdown mode. New countdown mode has as few as 3 different factions working together to stop the agent from securing the power plant. The power plant is held by the original faction, which is randomly generated, and in the background footage you could see it's the Cleaners, but generally it's either held by the Outcasts, the Cleaners, the Rikers. I haven't seen Hyenas yet. And at the extraction, at the very end of the countdown mission, the Black Tusk actually attacked the extraction point. And also present at the extraction are hunters, which is what this video is looking to explore. Why are there hunters at the extraction point with the Black Tusk? They're not shooting at each other, they seem to be working together. What could they possibly be doing in league with the Black Tusk? This actually brings up a really interesting possibility that hasn't necessarily been explored to a large extent in the main Division game lore. That being the possibility that the hunters are organized, and not only are they organized, but they are aligned with the Black Tusk. We know very little about the Black Tusk leadership other than Natalya and Bardon, but we don't know much about the motivations, goals, and extent of resources of these factions. We know even less about the Division. The only things we really know is that they exist and they appear to be unfriendly to the Division. So, here's my thoughts about the narrative and where it could possibly go in the next expansion. And I'm going to base this on a few things that we've seen in the Division universe so far. So it starts way back in the Division survival and the struggle to contain the green poison. Hunters were first introduced to the Division way back in the survival mode to show up at the agent extraction. Why would they do this? Why would the hunters reveal themselves at that particular moment? This to me suggests that the hunters are interested in stopping the distribution of the antivirals to the city of New York. And now why would they want to do that? And it could be because they're related in some way to the Gordon Amherst green poison plan. Amherst released the green poison on New York during Black Friday to cause as much physical devastation to society as possible. This is pure speculation, but the hunters could be followers or disciples of the green poison, or potentially Amherst himself, that are focused on causing as much anarchy as possible upon New York and DC. This would explain their involvement in the sabotage of the extraction and in the countdown mode as well. Looking at the Division 2's new countdown mode, the hunters are the very first enemies you fight in the mode, so they may be trying to sabotage the operation from the very start, not just at the end extraction. Kelso mentions at the beginning of the mission that the power plant meltdown would create a radioactive green poison, and with the previous logic mentioned, it kind of makes sense that the hunters would be interested in allowing this to happen. It's unclear why they want this to happen, but through their actions, it is clear that they are focused on stopping the division from creating order within the chaos of what has happened after the events of the green poison outbreak in Black Friday. So why work with the Black Tusk then? You might be curious to know. Well, I believe that the Black Tusk is interested in maintaining control of DC and gaining power. This is consistent with pretty much all of the in-game appearances of the faction, and they've cemented themselves as the main antagonists of the Division 2 after the death of Aaron Keener. The Black Tusk don't really seem interested in stopping the Division from securing the power plant in the countdown mode, from what we've seen so far. This is indicated by the fact that they only kind of show up at the extraction, whereas the hunters are present throughout the entire game mode. The question I've been looking to try and wrap my head around is why the hunters and the Black Tusk are working together at all in the first place. Do you think they have a common goal? What could they possibly want? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I think that the hunters, since they've proven themselves to be interested in disorder and chaos, and the Black Tusk have capitalized off of the disorder in the city, the Black Tusk could be working with the hunters as a play for control of the government. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense that the Black Tusk showed up almost immediately after the death of all of the lieutenants in the Division 2's main campaign were eliminated, that being the Hyena Council, Emmeline Shaw, and Ridgway. So it's clear now that the Black Tusk finds opportunity in the power vacuum and basically the disorder of New York City and in Washington, D.C. Natalya could be using the hunters to kind of create that disorder, allowing her another play for control through the opportunity provided by the hunters. It's an interesting theory, and I think it's worth exploring and thinking about, but I don't know. That's just my thoughts right now on this, fine Saturday afternoon. But let me hear your thoughts down below. I'm definitely interested in hearing what you guys have to say. It's going to be a pretty fun time when the new Division stuff comes out. The new countdown mode looks great. That's what's going in the background right now. The new seasonal narrative stuff is going to be really, really, really fun to try out. Yeah, and overall, I'm pretty excited. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Where do you think the story's going to go? What do you think about the theory I posed here? You think it's plausible, or you think I'm completely off base and I need to, get my head on straight? At any rate, I appreciate everyone who stuck around to the end of the video. My name is Delta. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And yeah, Delta out. Peace.